Hello, my Teaserking family. Okay, I do have the audio that one time this morning. How's everybody today? Sorry I'm on a bit later, but I was doing the first show. So yesterday I didn't know I was buffered because I was just on Netflix and in the middle of my movie circled and it was a buffering thing. So I guess I was being buffered, but from my point of view, I didn't realize. Like now, I know when I'm freezing, right? I can see me kind of freezing. I didn't see it yesterday. Greg and John said it, and I said, "Well, maybe it's your computer, but I know when I'm freezing." So if anybody sees me freezing or muting, please tell me. Uh, Real D told me today I didn't have it. Normally, I see the button, the bubbles, but I didn't pay attention. Anyway, didn't get my job, at least I don't think so. A little bit pissed about that. I got a master's and 25 years experience, and I didn't get the job. And I'd like to get a reason why. It was supposed to be contract to hire. So if you don't like me, you let me go. I mean, that's the point of the contract to hire. So anyway, fuck them. Now here's how you be stoic. You say, fine. Like, I got rejected, but it's your loss. You could have had the professor and you chose somebody else. You lose. Good luck with that. And probably discrimination. Probably a woman or somebody will hire. Good for them. Anyway, I just let it go. I keep applying and I wait for the next position. And if gold keeps going, it won't matter. I'll just I will have my gold. So I see gold's having a rough day. This is why in the title I put paper gold. Again, it's paper derivative gold still, and it's going down. It's just the derivative guys fucking around. There's no profit taking here. If you own physical, nobody's selling their physical at 2180. Maybe if you had a zero, 21,800, but not 2180. And I know a lot of people are brainwashed by the derivative paper, gold and silver. So, silver can't go more than 50. Paper silver can't, but we're not talking paper. So we really need a physical one. Somebody thinks Shanghai is physical. It isn't. It's still related to using the paper price. So it's not a physical. We don't really have a physical price yet, but that's what BRICS is going to give us. So just keep holding on. I'm just charging my phone a little bit. I was just on the phone with the recruiter going, okay, what the fuck's going on? Because he was supposed to call Monday, and I let it go because I interviewed Friday. And then the guy's Tuesday. Okay, it's the end of the day, Tuesday. Coming back from swim, I'll give him a call. And I was surprised that they already had made a decision and we're bringing the guy in for a face-to-face. I'm thinking, but it's a contract to hire. Why would you need a face-to-face? Why did you do Teams then? Why would you do a Teams and then a face-to-face? Why wouldn't you just do face-to-face? Because it's different in person than it is in Teams. Anyway, enough of that. So I was watching Andy Scheckman today for about 5 minutes. That's all I can take. Why is gold up to 2180? And Andy's reason is I don't know. And so I put in the comments, he said, well, I think it's just the interest rates and the Fed. Like the Fed controls gold. This is how stupid these people are. And of course, I put a comment in. Well, it's because COMEX isn't on gold anymore. They moved to Bitcoin. So without COMEX to drop the price is just going until we get the physical system and the physical gold price. But right now, the paper gold price is blowing up because COMEX isn't there to short it because they don't want to get their ass killed because they got to keep that. But it's amazing, like how, they make Andy Schectman into some big guy because he runs a gold place that sells gold. All he is a salesman. But this is my point to you guys. You get manipulated by these guys, and they'll tell you what's going on, and it's all a bunch of BS. Andy Schectman doesn't know what's going on. Oh, everybody's buying it. Okay, so there's high demand, but it doesn't matter because it's COMEX, it's paper. It doesn't matter how much demand, price isn't going up unless the COMEX buyers come in. And I'm a little confused on how the price is going now. Who's buying to make it go up? We know COMEX does derivatives that short it, that make it go down, but I don't know who makes it go up. I assume it's all COMEX, which again is paper, which again we don't care about. So again, gold having a rough day for some reason. Don't know. Like I said, it can't be profit taking. Well, I guess it could paper profit taking, but not really sure. Maybe China wants to buy more, so they lowered the price. Swimming went well. That's about it. All right, so what did I want to talk about? So we watched Attack on Wall Street. There was one thing I wanted to take off on that. So again, the biggest thing is fear. It's the survival tactic as everybody's losing money, either in their house or their stock. The fear of losing everything starts coming into play, which is why we're in gold. It's the only thing that cannot be printed and inflated. And if you understand that, then you're way ahead of the game. Most people don't. Oh, inflation's 3%, you know. And then I was listening to this Dr. Farber guy he lives in Hong Kong or something. He's Swiss with that K guy from Germany he's clueless. He doesn't understand inflation. He kind of does, but he doesn't. And they don't understand gold. And it's hard to listen to it. I don't know. For me, it's hard to listen to. What was I going to talk about? That's why I don't use notes. It's just whatever pops in. Okay, enough of that. Free market I wanted to talk about. Something to do with the markets, yeah. So in a free market, I saw something. In a free market, they were talking about something, and I thought about it. Well, I guess let's explain it. So in a free market, in a laissez-faire capitalist market, it's the Attack on Wall Street ending. So in a free market, I give you this, and you give me a price. The invisible hand means it's me against the seller. Laissez-faire economics means we don't need the government taxing or charging an excise or anything like that. Hey, Greg, John. It's what's good for inflammation. What? TK, what's good for inflammation? Okay. The Motrin, the red Motrin, Just a second, I'll show you. So this is ibuprofen. This is really good for when I get my gout or my back, little red pills. You just get them at the drugstore, CVS or something. You take 2, maybe twice a day. They're not expensive. So you can see 500 tablets, 200 milligram pain reliever. So I would recommend those. I'd recommend, depending on the body part, just soaking it in ice. So when my feet hurt from gout, I would put ice on it, and ice is very good because the blood flows to the coldest part of the body, and that's what you want, the blood circulating. You're welcome, Greg and John. All right, so gold of 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock is 21.58. So you can see our real problem. It was all 21.80. We're going great. And all of a sudden it just drops $30. And then it goes up to 21.66. I go, okay, here it goes. Then it drops again to 21.52. And now it's going back up to 21.58. Silver, you can see, didn't do anything, 24.14. So again, paper, gold, and silver, it's not real, it's not physical. And people don't understand this. People see this and think that's the real price. It's not, it's the paper price. So that's your gold. Let's take a quick look at football. So is there any new free agent news? Nothing there. Although you mentioned somebody had signed, but it's not getting here. All right. So in laissez-faire economics, which means leave it alone, keep the government out. Me and Bobby, I sell this to Bobby. He pays me whatever. I take the money. He gets the card. There's nothing phony going on. There's no like you're getting the card. It's not like paper. Paper gold, you're not getting anything. ETFs, you're not getting anything. That's what you're getting is you get the card for the money. That's what you want. Those are the kind of transactions you want. There was something I was thinking about with like invisible hand, free trade, but I can't think of it now. It was in the pool. All right. Here's one on Bitcoin where Bitcoin's one of those things where it's not backed by anything. right? So my question is, Bitcoin backed by what? Nothing. And I think that's what I was going with free trade is you give $1 for Bitcoin, what do you get for it? You don't get anything. It's not money because you can't spend it anywhere. Money is something, see, there's no real money. It's a medium of exchange, which means you get paid and then you go shop with it. That's what money is, right? This is fiat money. Gold and silver is real money in the fact that you should get paid in gold and silver, and then you should use it to go shopping and pay your bills. That's what real money is. It's used to buy things. And that's where the struggle with Bitcoin is. It's not really, you can't buy things with it. And you can't really get a price on it. So how would you like to get paid? You're making 100 grand, you get paid in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's at 50,000, so you get 2 Bitcoins. And Bitcoin goes down to 25,000. Now what do? Oh, wait, I need 4 Bitcoin. Oh, no, you only get 2. This is the problem with Bitcoin. Money, you don't notice the value drop, but it's very similar, right? You're getting paid 100 grand and then it buys X and Y and Z, and then you realize 2 years later it doesn't buy half that shit. But it's hidden, it's secret. I keep hearing inflation's a tax. It's not a tax. Fuck. God, these people are stupid. Inflation is printing the money and making it worth less. How is it a tax? It's not a tax. They're just making your money worth less. A tax is when you get something and you owe the government money for whatever, here's the, I make 10 grand, I owe 2,000 in taxes. Here you go. I owe it for my income, or I owe it for sales. There's sales tax, there's income, there's interest expense that's taxed. You made $100 in interest, so you got to pay a tax because you made money. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But inflation's not a tax. I don't know where they're coming, it's coming. It's just the valuation of the money. That's all it is. It's not a tax. It's just the money is worth less. And it hurts everybody. So for some reason, people think it doesn't hurt the rich. It hurts the rich too. Their money's worth less. It's like your money and my money and the poor people. It hurts fixed incomes more, the retirees more, because they get, when I left Hiram Walker, I got a pension and I was only there a few years. So I got $300 a month when I hit 59, which was a few years ago. And they gave me an offer. You can take the $300 a month, or B, you can get a lump sum of $25,000. Knowing me, I took the $25,000 and bought gold with it. And I was like amazed, like, wow, I can get 25 grand. Fine. Because I felt that the 300 wouldn't be worth anything, as it's not. With the inflation, the 300's worth $5. I mean, what am I going to buy with $300? So I took the buyout to buy gold. So the gold's it's kind of an investment. See, there's 2 things with gold. There's the protection getting out of the dollar because it's lost its value. And it's also an investment because it will go up in value as people jump on it. People are still having a hard time understanding it, still thinking that gold is only good when the dollar goes up or the interest rates or something. It's got nothing to do with all that. It's the same thing as a Rolex. Does a Rolex go up? Does my Mahomes car, does this have to do with inflation or interest rates? Come on, man. No, it's just the demand for. So let's look at gold. So if there's inflation, does the demand for gold go up? Yeah, because your dollar's losing value. If you know that, they'll just think its price is going up and they won't buy gold. Interest rates going up. Would that make you buy gold? I don't know what it has to do with it, but let's figure it out. Interest rates go up because the dollar is weak and you're trying to stop inflation. Would I buy gold? Well, knowing what I know about the dollar, I'd always be buying gold because interest rates aren't going to stop the dollar from going to zero. It's already at zero. All the interest rates are supposed to do is slow the economy so prices come down. So it looks like inflation's down, but prices have got nothing to do with inflation. They're the effect, but not the cause. The cause is the printing. So if I'm buying gold and then interest rates go up, I'm still buying gold. What am I doing? Putting my money in a CD? My money's worthless. So if you understand this is gone to zero because they keep printing it, who cares about interest rates going up or what the Fed does or says? It's all mute. You want to get out of paper. See, that's the basic principle nobody can apparently understand. Specifically, Andy Schectman and half these idiots have no idea. Well, the Feds, they want to go back to the Fed. I mean, it's like, no, fellas, please. Does a Rolex go up because of interest rates of the dollar? No. It goes up because you have more demand than supply. So again, 500 people wanting a 50 count Mahomes card, the price is going to go up. If I got 10 people wanting it, the price will go down. And with gold, there's a lot more people that want it than don't. All the central banks, and they're buying tons of it. So that's kind of what we're at, understanding it. And then we understand how stupid these people are. We talked football this morning. And again, my attack on Wall Street, very good one. Watch that. That just shows you everything. They don't give a shit about you. They're just using you for your commissions. And I think that's really what the whole key is to Wall Street and the banks. They're just using you. You're part of the Ponzi scheme. We need money. We take your money and make money on it. And that's really it. Bitcoin, again, it's not backed by anything. This is how is it any different than a dollar? Oh, it's limited to 21 million Bitcoins. And what's a Bitcoin? It's a computer thing. And what's it backed by? Nothing. Then how can it have a value? See, the backing, when the dollar goes out, Bitcoin won't be worth anything because Bitcoin itself is not worth anything because it's not backed by gold. If it was backed by gold, it would be worth whatever gold's worth. That's the only mistake Bitcoin did. They didn't back it by gold, but he'd have to get gold to do it. So with that standpoint, he didn't really understand the nature of the beast, but the Bitcoin and this are the same. They're not backed by anything, so they really don't have a value. Gold-backed currency is backed by gold and does have a value. That's really the key to understanding it. So let's play this one. This is talking about Bitcoin hitting a new record high.
I am mic'd up today. It looks like a mess back here. That's not my... Our next story is about Bitcoin. It is surging and how. Yesterday it hit a new record. One Bitcoin was priced at $69,000. This was an all-time high for Bitcoin. Bitcoin sustained this price level only briefly, but the milestone is not our story. It's the momentum. It's been steady for a while. The question is, what is driving this rally? Usually this kind of surge happens due to heavy buying when a large number of investors start investing in a particular asset and they do it in large quantities, or when wealthy investors start pouring in big money. And the case of Bitcoin is no different. It's going up because of an influx of large investments, which brings us to the question, who is buying Bitcoin? Big investors in the United States. Investment firms have been at it for a while now. They've been trying to bring Bitcoin-related products. In January, they got a green light from the American regulators. A group of firms got the nod. They were allowed to introduce a new class of investments. These are called ETFs, Exchange Traded Funds, ETF. Now, these funds work like mutual funds. Expert fund managers run them. They collect money from investors and invest them directly into financial assets like stocks, or in this case, Bitcoin. If you're an investor, you can buy into these funds, ETFs, with small amounts of money, meaning you can indirectly own Bitcoin, also a number of other digital currencies. You can own them through this fund, ETF. So now big names have entered the Bitcoin game, the likes of BlackRock, Fidelity, and Grayscale. Reports say they have bought hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins, and that's what's causing this price surge.
I think this is classic supply and demand. Demand is booming. We had the spot Bitcoin ETF approved in the US just over 6 weeks ago. And since then, those ETFs have accumulated 4% of all the Bitcoin there is in the world just in 6 weeks. Just to put that in perspective, that's proportionally about twice the size of the gold ETFs, which have been out there for a lot longer.
Now, what does that mean for people like us, the average investor? What does it mean for them? Early adopters of Bitcoin will celebrate. Their investments have grown manyfold, and they've earned some well-deserved bragging rights too. There is institutional investment in Bitcoin now. Mainstream players are entering the space. Notable players are buying Bitcoin, and that amounts to acceptance. That means that Bitcoin and other digital currencies are here to stay. But I must say, these investments are not for the faint-hearted. Digital currencies like Bitcoin can be volatile assets. Look at the trajectory. Bitcoin emerged in 2009. It wanted to be the currency for the internet, one that is not controlled by any bank, by any central or reserve bank, by any country, government, or institution. It was not supposed to be controlled. Its operations are decentralized. Now, Bitcoin is built on the principle of blockchain, like a huge public ledger where every Bitcoin transaction is recorded. Everyone using the Bitcoin can see that transaction. So it makes any kind of cheating quite hard. When someone transacts using Bitcoin, computers around the world verify and authenticate it. So transactions cannot be fabricated. Now, since then, since 2009, many more cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have emerged. They're called cryptocurrencies. But there is a fundamental problem with them. There is no underlying asset, no asset that decides the price of these currencies. There are no gold bars which back our traditional currencies. So this market, the cryptocurrency market, runs on a pure demand and supply model. When there is more demand, the price goes up. When the demand shrinks, the price falls. And it falls quite dramatically. Consider what happened in July 2022. Bitcoin's price dropped below $20,000. The global outlook was gloomy. There were fears of a recession, so investors turned towards safer assets. And just see how wild the fluctuation has been. In July 2022, one Bitcoin was worth $19,000. Today, the price is well over $60,000. That's a jump of more than 3 times in less than 2 years. It could fall again when the markets turn bearish. So if you're thinking about investing, do remember this. This is no quick money scheme. Think your investment through, consult an expert, and exercise caution.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. So even though it's way up, she's still saying it's very volatile. Okay, so you got BlackRock and these companies into it. What do you think they're going to do? Then they're going to sell all that, and then it'll go back to 20,000. You'll get the shit beat out of you because you won't know that, because it really doesn't have a value. Gold is controlled by gold. If BlackRock and JP Morgan bought a bunch of gold, the price would go up, but they would be incredibly stupid to sell it, right? And they can't manipulate it because you can't print it. So Bitcoin, they bought it, the price went up. Now watch them sell it and the price will drop. This is why it's not a good investment, and it doesn't have, you don't know what the value is. Gold, I know, is if I bought it today, what, 21.60. Okay, that's what it is if I bought it today. I would have to spend $22.30, $22.40 for it. So I'd have to pay the premium. If I want to sell it, I get $21.60. So I lose the premium when I sell it, unless I sell it on eBay. If I sell it on eBay, I get the normal price. So if we go to eBay, So on eBay, my Maple Leaf, I could get 22.42 or 22.36 or 22.41. This is what I could sell it for on eBay, and I'd be more apt to sell it on eBay. So if I go to the coin store, I'm going to get spot. I'm going to get 21.60, right? And here you get 20. So it's a $60 premium if I want to put a 1-day sale on it or a buy it now and, go that way. So I could sell it here. Onesie, Tuesdays, I'll probably go to the coin store. If I was going to sell 5, I would sell it here, but I don't know why I would sell it. Real quickly, I found a new card for Bobby and Nick. So look at what we have here. Tom Brady was 3 or 4 million, is now going for 7,500,000. There's no bids on it, but I'm shocked that the price is almost doubled on it. Then it brings me to this one. This is a Mahomes rookie card, also out of 10. It's only 500. It's like a bargain considering the Brady card. See, it's number 2 of 10. So it's a 10 count. I think the Brady's a 10 count. It's a Mahomes, 2017. And it's only, not that 500 grand isn't a lot, but when Brady's going for 7.5 for his 10 count, this is a steal at 500 grand. So anyway, now these will go to 500 grand. My golds. So I got these in different sizes. A tenth's 252, a quarter 612, a half's 1186, which is actually a bargain because this is 612, so that'd be 1224. So you're better off buying the half ounce. Anyway, so that's what I was looking at yesterday on eBay. You get these 10 ounce, you get these out of 10s. They only made 10. What does that show you? When it's limited, look at the value of the Brady, of the Mahomes limited cards. And they're only worth that because they only made 10. Not the regular 1,000. Even this 50 count Mahomes is not worth 500 grand, even though the 10 is. I know there's a big difference between the 10 and the 50. So anyway, so that's Bitcoin. It's very volatile. And that's why it's not money, because it's all over the place. It's 60, it's 75. How do you buy it? Right? How do you get value on it? I want to buy a car. I'm going to buy your car for 70,000. I give you a Bitcoin. And next week, Bitcoin's worth 50,000. You just got screwed. That's why people want money, because if they get $75,000 in their hands, they know they got. Now they don't know what the 75,000 is worth. That's the Ponzi scheme, right? This isn't really worth €5. It says €5, but now €5 can buy a pack of gum, right? But you don't realize that, so I'll charge you €5 for a Starbucks. You give them this, you get coffee. But this is not worth 5; it's worth maybe 2. So that's really the hidden thing. Our prices, and that's why this is so this is not a tax. This is just the value of the money is basically gone. But people don't want to accept that. They don't want to say it's gone, so they don't. All right, London Paul. So London Paul, we talked about. I think I talked about it yesterday after I lost my video. So I'm going to see, this is why I hate doing it. That's why I had to watch my stuff this morning, or I think I watched it last night to see what I had covered and what I have not covered. Even though I had covered some attack on Wall Street, I went through the whole thing again. I thought it was more prudent. But I didn't think I covered London Pulse. So I think that came later in the show.
We live in a fantasy world now. Reality.
It was geared towards a Western audience, not the political side, but just to try and make Western people perhaps think differently. And in that regard, you could argue it has some partial degree of success. But generally, for me, I just thought, well,
Okay, he's going to talk about the U.S.
opportunity to do this, because in the end, it won't change the outcome of the war.
Hey, Nick.
It will just create more devastation, more horrendous loss of life. Frankly, the Ukrainians have suffered enough from my perspective, and I think anyone who actually cares at all about people or humanity should feel the same way.
I absolutely agree, Paul. And, listening to the points that you're making about this conflict just makes me consider how many moving parts there really are to all of these different situations, whether it be Russia, Ukraine, whether it be the conflict in the Middle East. And then when we piece all of this together along with, let's say, the first half of our conversation today with the hyper-financialization and the metaphor of many, many spinning plates that are starting to wobble here, it just makes me really think that there are any one of these things that could dramatically weaken these institutions that have existed for such a long time, that many people just have this recency bias that it will always continue to be this way. Do you get that sense as well sometimes?
Yes, of course, because it's very hard if you live in the Western world and you've grown up. I mean, think about anybody. I mean, I'm not diminishing a child's capability to understand things, but if you go post-World War II, you go back to Bretton Woods for 1944, we're talking this year, 80 years ago. So really, logically, there are anybody who's alive on this planet has always been used to the idea that, even if they don't want to admit it, that the United States was the superpower. Okay, you can argue that during the Cold War, Russia was, but post-collapse of Russia, it certainly wasn't. But the US has been top dog, and the US instituted the CIA after Bretton Woods. There was the IMF, the World Bank. There's the dollar as the world reserve currency, and the US has been calling the shots for decades. I mean, this is true. I mean, we can't, but there's no point denying the truth. So it's very hard for people to imagine a world where the US isn't dominant. I mean, some people might think it's a great idea. Some people might be neutral. Some people might hate the idea. And some people who hate the idea are equally frightened of what the alternative might be. And therefore, they're obviously predisposed to the idea, well, all this has to survive. It's impossible. Yes, the US has printed the currency into oblivion. Yes, inevitably at some point, I think even the biggest diehard dollar bugs will go, well, it's here. But they think it's going to be here for 20, 30, 40 years more. It won't be. We're way past that point. 2008 was the end, and we've had 50.
Okay, I want to answer Nick philosophically. Bitcoin soon to 100,000. Don't miss out. And this is based on what? You do understand Bitcoin's backed by nothing. And the only reason it went up is because Larry Fink and JP Morgan bought some of it. But now what's going to drive the price up? Can't get these returns on gold. Well, I'm going to disagree with you. And silver, worth a little taste. Okay, so you're going to buy one Bitcoin with the $75,000, or what is it, 70,000? You're going to buy one coin? How many coins are you going to buy? Bitcoin halving is coming to control supply. Well, that makes it 42,000, right? So it goes from 21 million to 42 million. It's still not backed by anything. What if the dollar goes out tomorrow and you got So what are you going to buy? One coin for 75,000? How do you buy it? Right? Are you going to buy $20,000 worth? What exactly do you buy? Gold's 2,200 an ounce now. I'm going to buy 2,200. But demand will rise like the supply and demand theory. Is Bitcoin supply and demand? I don't think so. I read how they get the price. There's a lot more. It's not supply and demand. So if I were you, I'd be doing this. You get the 10 count Mahomes for 500 grand, of which there's only 10. It's his rookie, or the Brady is now 7.5 million. What would you rather have? The card of Brady or the Mahomes or Brady, the rookie card, numbered out of 10. There's no halving. There's no 21 million. There's 10 fucking Mahomes, 10 fucking Bradys, and you have the card or Bitcoin of which you don't have anything. You don't have a coin. It's backed by nothing. And if the dollar goes out, what's the Bitcoin value? Just looking to cash out quick and reinvest. Trust me, I'm with you. I know. No, I understand. Heavily investing in Brady refractors right now. Hey, Luke. Nothing. I did my attack on Wall Street video last night, but it only took an hour of it. So the second half got wiped out or buffered or whatever. So I did that in the morning and then I went swimming. So now I'm doing my second video today. Attack on Wall Street's very interesting because it shows you that the guys don't give a fuck. All they want is the commissions. They don't care about you. They just care about the company, and they fucked our guy out of $60,000 and then he killed everybody. So it's a happy ending. But I wanted to share that because that is, and I know Bobby likes that movie. Well, he's looking for the movie. So I put the movie on, not all of it. Gold took a day off today, but again, it's still paper and it's still on, it's still on COMEX. So it hasn't totally left COMEX. But keep in mind, gold's still paper. In your defense, Nick, Bitcoin is not COMEX derivative yet. It's just starting paper derivative, right? So Bitcoin's gonna get fucked. Why its value? People are just jumping on blindly. They don't know why it is. It's not supply demand. Unfortunately, that's where I'm going with laissez-faire economics. This is supply demand. It's 50 count. You want this card, you know it's only 50. You buy it, you got the card in your hand. There's no interference. It's not paper. It's not like 1,000 ETFs. 1,000 of these were made, and no, you actually, that's why you don't buy ETFs. You buy the physical because you have 50 Mahomes cards. And there's more than 50 people that like Mahomes. This is a much safer thing than a Bitcoin. Gold is safe because you can't inflate it. Bitcoin, if it halves, doesn't that mean it goes to 42 million, not 21 million? Because you're having it. And you don't know how it goes up and down. It is not strictly people buying it, going up, and selling it, going down. Well, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think? You're going to trust BlackRock and the Russian mafia? As soon as that hits 75, they're out because they know it's really nothing. It's just not backed by anything. So if the dollar were to go out tomorrow, the value of Bitcoin would be zero because it can't be valued on its own. That's an important lesson. I understand what you want to do, Nick, but what are you going to do? You got 75 grand to buy a Bitcoin and you're going to hope it goes to 100 grand and you're going to get out. I mean, that's the problem with people. They hold it thinking they think right at the roulette wheel is going to go and it'll never hit black. I mean, come on, we know a lot better than that. So all I'm saying is that, and then gold and silver have yet to begun. They're starting to move. Well, gold's starting to move. Silver's getting rid of COMEX, but wait till BRICS goes. We got a gold-backed currency. We're going to revalue gold at 10,000 an ounce. and that drives it to 20 or 30,000. The difference is gold ain't going anywhere. You can't print it. That's the beauty of gold. That's really why we like gold. You can't print it. This gets printed to billions, just as the guy just said, but gold can't be printed. That's why we love it. All right. Nick, sorry, just wanted to share thoughts since I saw. Oh, no problem, Nick. I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to shine the light going. I understand it all perfectly, but what would be your plan on buying it? Would you buy a coin for 75,000? Of which case I'm driving you into the Mahomes card at 500,000. At least you'd own the card and it's 10 count. It can only go up, but I don't know that you can make an offer on it. So I'd make an offer of 300,000 or whatever. So I'm trying to shine the light of what makes sense. It's not backed by anything, and you never own it. You can't put it in your hand like we can the Mahomes card. This is the critical part. This is in my hands. It's 50 count. That's the difference. You can't put Bitcoin in your hand, and you assume 21 million. It's halving. That's 42 million, if I'm right. And you can't hold it. All of a sudden they come out and say, hey, thing. Or all of a sudden the price drops because the Russians get out and Fink gets out. And all of a sudden you wake up and it's at 20,000. You're going, what the fuck? Then what do? Hold it until it goes back up? I mean, that's really what I'm trying to draw the light on. You want to hold your assets. All right. No problem. I got to be devil's advocate here. Well, I'm not saying not to. You can do that in anything that you want. The question is, how do you do it? You're going to buy $1,000 worth? Do you buy $30,000 worth? How would you do it is really my question. You don't got to convince me you already know I'm your suggestions. Right? No, I'm not. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to ask the question going, how would you do it? All right, you want to buy Bitcoin? Okay. Explain how. Do you buy a whole coin? Do you buy a half? What's your mark? How do you get in? Do you pay taxes or anything? Is there shipping? How do you get out? So where's your money coming from? The bank? You don't have any money in the bank, so you got to get money to put into the account. And then when you sell it, now you got to put your money in the bank, which is very risky at this point. I know you disagree, Professor. No, I'm not. You guys are getting me wrong. I am just being devil's advocate here. Gold, like Bitcoin, needs to be mined. Keep supply and demand in mind. Well, I wish gold was just simply supply and demand and not the paper bullshit. I don't know if Bitcoin's paper bullshit or not, but it is now, because now that Fink's doing the ETF, now it's paper. Now everybody's fucked in it. Luke, I think silver is the best buy right now for sure. It hasn't gotten away from COMEX yet like gold has. That's why gold keeps going up and up and up. Today's kind of a quandary why it's fallen. Last time I looked at gold. Did you see this? The Brady's now 7.5. I mean, it was 4 million and now it's 7.5. I'm surprised he raised it. All right, let's go to, what's our gold price? So gold's at 21.58. It went up to 21.81, and then look at that 10 o'clock London move. It hasn't been doing that lately. And then it kind of got to 21.66. I was hoping to get back into the 21.70s. Now, I seriously doubt there's profit taking here, because who's taking the profit? It doesn't work like that. Nobody's selling their ounces of gold, dropping the price. This is all a COMEX derivative. So they still have a little derivative room left in them for some reason, but I thought the derivative, well, I guess most of the derivative guys went to the Bitcoin COMEX where there must be a few idiots left. And yeah, gold's going to go down. Anyway, so that's got plenty of room to go. But silver, it's not going yet. But if you saw the Mark McGuire I showed you the other day, I think Saturday or Sunday, it's about to get off of COMEX or go with, as gold goes up, people won't afford gold, so they'll get into silver. But gold's going up first, and then silver. As you can see, gold, I thought, okay, I'm worried, let's get over 2,200, and then on our way to 2,300, and then it won't go back to 2,000, and then people will start getting that survival mode where they're going, wait a minute, what the fuck is gold doing? It's at 2,300. What's going on? And then maybe we need to buy it without the attack on Wall Street brokers saying, no, buy the real estate trust, buy stock. And apparently oil is also fixed like gold and silver. So on COMEX, there's an oil part, and it's the same thing. Oil should be $50 higher. It's held down. I wondered why oil wasn't going anywhere with the inflation. So inflation's really puzzling. The dollars are going down in value, but yet oil, I can still get my car filled. It's still $3.10 a gallon here, and some of the food's gone up. But why isn't gold and silver going up? I mean, if the dollar's worthless, the gold and silver should be much higher. So that you can see what COMEX is doing with their manipulation. But again, the gold manipulation's just about over. The silver's still going to be there for a little bit. But I agree with you, Luke. It's way undervalued. And after listening to Mark McGuire on Friday, I ran back. That was my birthday present. I ran back Saturday. I think I ran Friday and bought another 10 ounces of silver and a little bit more. I bought a Prof 1/10 of an ounce kangaroo, which is Australian gold, and it was only $220. All the American and Canadian were $250 for the 1/10. This was $220. I couldn't believe it. Plus it's Prof, which means it's worth well over $300, and he's selling it for $220. And I'm like, why are you selling it so much cheaper? It's 1/10 of an ounce. He says, well, nobody buys it. I go, because you never have it. If you would have had kangaroos, believe me, I'd have been buying them. And that's a perfect thing. He doesn't have them, and he never gets the supply of them, or at least at that store, maybe at the other store. So you never have them. How could you sell them? You don't have them to sell. All I saw two. I bought both of them. So I'm like, what are you talking about? But I agree with you, Luke. Silver. Well, gold's still a steal, and silver, of course. They'll both be going to the moon. Nick, no having means it gets reduced in half, reducing supply. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. No, you don't. There's no problem with interrupting. I just read as I go. So now you're saying there's 10 million of them? So you're saying all this time there isn't even 10 million out there? And that's where it's having to 10 million. They're not going to have enough Bitcoin when Larry Fink gets done with it. That's interesting. But again, what's it backed by? Nothing. There's nothing backing it. I mean, at least have it backed by Mahomes cards. I could understand. So when the dollar goes out, Bitcoin goes out. And that's my point about Bitcoin. The dollar goes out because it's not backed by anything. The euro goes out, it's not backed by anything. Gold can't go out because it's gold. It's real money. It doesn't need to be backed by anything. Bitcoin is not backed by anything. It'll go out because it's in dollars, right? It's $75,000. Dollars goes out, it's zero. Now what do you value Bitcoin at? I know what I value gold at. It's a house. I know what my Mahomes will be worthless in dollars, but will get valued in gold or silver. This might be an ounce of silver, which might be $3,000. So this is what this will be worth. So that's what everything gets switched to. If you have an asset, if you have a Rolex, let's say you have a $60,000 Rolex, the dollar goes out. Does it have a value? It will in gold. It won't in dollars. And that's the lesson that you've got to understand. Your house, Luke, when you buy the house, you're going to be buying it with gold and silver. You ain't going to be buying it with dollars because they won't be there. But the way you'll buy it, you won't have an interest rate to worry about or a mortgage payment, because you're going to give them a couple ounces of gold. Let's say you own the house. That's it, because the gold will be worth that much in the house. And the guy selling the house is going to be freaking out because he needs money. His house is worth 500 grand and now it's worth nothing. The guy's going to be peeing in his pants and you're going to walk in. I got gold. This is real money. And he'll be, that's how you'll do the deal. And then now your house is worth 2 ounces of gold. And you'll see that the gold's worth a couple $100,000 in gold. It won't be worth anything in dollars. Luke, I do believe the world will be turning to gold, not Bitcoin. Again, because Bitcoin is not backed by anything. Bitcoin has no value. That's why I did it in the title. This is worthless. Like I said, this you can go get Starbucks. I mean, it used to be worth $5. It used to be worth something. Now this is a coffee. Soon it'll be 2 of these for a coffee. That's the problem that nobody understands, is the value of the money goes to zero. And it's at zero now, but I went to my barbecue place for my birthday last week, and he said, okay, once gold's at 10,000, now what do I do? And I go, wait till it goes to 20,000. You don't do anything with it. You can't sell it because you're going to get this. You don't want this. You're getting away from this. So when your gold hits 10 grand, if this is still out, you don't want this anymore. If you own a bill, then you cash it in to pay your bill. Then he questioned the debt. He says, what if we just don't pay the debt? I go, okay, you own the restaurant, the boneyards, barbecue, steaks and ribs and stuff, chicken. I said, what if you don't pay your debt? What happens? You lose your restaurant. You think the government can just not pay and nothing will happen? You'll never be able to get a loan again. Nobody will help you out again because you're bankrupt. So your whole credibility goes out the window. So that's what I told him. I said, you just hold it. And eventually everything will be priced in gold and off you go. He says, I should put a sign up that I'll take gold and silver for the food. And I said, absolutely. I said, you should take silver for your food. Even if it's a $40 order, you'll take silver for the food. Absolutely. Absolutely. You should do that. So I hope he does it, but yeah, he'd take silver for food. I don't think he'd take Bitcoin for it. That's the difference. I don't think Bitcoin's money because it's not accepted. You can't go to the store with it. No. Let's put gold and Rolex and Mahomes in the same kit. I can't go to the grocery store with this, but it doesn't mean it ain't worth $5 grand. I can't go to the grocery store with my Rolex, but it's worth 50 grand. And I can't go to the grocery store with gold, even though it's worth what, $2,000, $2,100. It doesn't mean I can't cash it in. This is a little harder. I got to go on eBay. But gold, I can go to the coin store. He'll give me the 2,100, and then I can go to the grocery store with it. So it's a keeper. It's a holder of value of the gold, right? It's worth what it's worth. It's going to be a lot more. Let's say it hits 5 grand. I get 5 grand, and then that's how you go to the grocery store with gold. People are so stupid. They make it so difficult. I can't use gold to grocery. Yes, you can. The same way. So what? You don't have any assets? You don't have a Rolex? You don't have a what do we call it? I keep going backwards. My Van Gogh. Okay, it's not a real Van Gogh, but let's say it was and was worth 100 grand. It's still going to have value. I can sell it, get the money to go to the grocery store, but it's an asset, an asset, an asset. That's my point. That's why you buy assets. They have their value. mostly because they're limited. How many Van Goghs are there? Okay, there's originals. I don't know how many prints he made. Let's say he made 50 prints, and they're all worth 50 grand. I mean, they're not going to come out with 1 million prints of Van Gogh. Same thing with Rolexes. They're very limited, or the Omegas, or any of the other Swiss. And that's why you buy assets, because they can't print them to death. That is the problem with this, is they print it to death. As the guy just said, they printed it to death. They printed trillions. There's $130 trillion outside the U.S. that as soon as it comes back, you better hope your money's out of the stock market, because it's going to crash, because all these people are going to pull their money out. Oh my God, the dollar's crashing. Get my fucking stocks out and get out of the bank. And that's what they'll do. I'm just surprised the Swiss are not backing their money by gold. I honestly can't believe that. Egon wouldn't have them prepared. I do believe the world is turning to gold, not Bitcoin. Well, look at all the central banks. They're all buying gold. None of them are buying. How much Bitcoin do you think Putin has? I don't think it's a lot. And I know he's got 30,000 tons of gold. That we're pretty sure of. His swimming pool is getting full of. He just stacks the pallets in his pool. Here, let's take it. Here's my basement. It's just stacked with gold. China. I mean, all the central banks. Why are they buying gold? Why aren't they buying Bitcoin? Why aren't they buying other things? No, they buy gold and silver. That should tell you everything you need to know about it. And it's happening soon. That's what Mark McGuire said. Very soon, BRICS is announcing their gold-backed currency. And then Katie bar the door. They'll probably reset gold, I would guess 10,000, roughly. I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 20. They got to do it at a high enough number where that's all because you're supposed to have enough money based on the gold. So if you have, if gold's 20,000 an ounce, you only need, so much gold for the dollars. And you can still print small denominated dollars. A 5 will give you whatever 1/5 of an ounce of gold or whatever that'll be worth. But the money will be very expensive then. And you won't have this bullshit. Venezuela's inflation's like 500,000% or something. Zimbabwe, they're out. They started a gold-backed currency finally. So I'm hoping that'll start to play, the Zimbabwe gold-backed currency. They didn't get killed yet. But they're not going to kill China and Russia, and that's, I'm sure, what this Russian war is about, keeping Russia off the gold-backed currency, and they're not going to be able to do it. Putin, believe me, wants to, and he'll say, well, we're not trying to get rid of the dollar. We just want to compete with it. We want to give an option. And how many people are going to take the dollar over gold? I mean, what? Nobody? One guy? I mean, that's not going to happen. Well, I think what happens, Luke, is as gold starts going up, eventually the dollar goes to zero. And eventually gold then becomes the medium of exchange. That's what's going to, and then that's when you buy a house with it. So it'll go to 5 and 10 as people start realizing the dollar's toilet paper and they need to get out of it. That's when gold really flies. Keep in mind, what we're looking at now in gold is paper gold. It's still COMEX. It's still bullshit. For it to go up the way it did, I was a little surprised. But after listening to Mark McGuire, I thought that they were out of gold. But it looks like after today, they're still got a little bit left in the tank to do derivatives. But I would expect it to now, like I said, I think once we see 2,200, it's all over, because they'll realize it's not coming back to 2,000. Like right now, I don't know what they're thinking. Like I said, Andy Schechtman, somebody asked him, well, why do you think gold's up? He had no idea. This is why I tell you guys, don't listen to him. He said, I don't know. It must be something the Federal Reserve or the dollar this or the dollar that. Or he had no idea, because the COMEX was broke and they're not derivating gold anymore. Because think about it. If they do a derivative at 2150, they have to have the physical to do the derivative. And then China's sitting there going, fine, give me the gold at 2150. And that's why they can't do it anymore, because China wants to take delivery. And they have to have the gold that they're doing the derivative for. That's the big change. All right, Luke. I like the gold stocks too. I know you do, and I don't mind them normally, assuming there will be a USD of type. Having BTC happens every 4 years, where the mining supply gets cut in half. Okay, I don't know. So it goes from 21 million to 10 million, and then the 5 million, and then the 2 million, and then it goes out. I mean, but nobody really knows there is 21 million. And it really isn't anything that you can put your hands on. You don't even know if it's real. After that OneCoin thing with the crypto queen and the OneCoin ripping off the Russian mafia for $16 billion, how do you know there's really Bitcoin? I mean, there really isn't anything. So you got lucky, you made some money, you got out. And I know, yeah, it's a good time. Look at it's going up. That's just the problem with it. That's like getting to the roulette wheel and it's red, 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 and you get there and we've had 7 reds in a row. Do you then bet red for the 8th time and then black hits because you've already had 7 reds? I tend to wait. And it's like I'll wait till it runs out and wait for the new streak, because I know as soon as I get in, it'll black on me, and then I'll lose my bet, or I'll hit 1 and then it blacks. But that's the whole point. It's you got to be careful of jumping in. But again, that's why I asked Nick. I go, well, okay, it's 70,000. What do you buy? Do you buy? So you got 70 grand to buy 1 Bitcoin? If I got 70 grand, I'm buying 35 ounces of gold. I'm not buying a Bitcoin. Mostly because it's not backed by anything. That would be my thing. Having Bitcoin happens every 4 years, where the mining supply gets cut in half. Now the available. Well, how do they know how much is available? So you're saying there's 21 million, but you're saying there's 2 million available. So now there's 1 million available. So then is there still 21 million, or now it's 18 million, or what does that mean? There's apparently 17 million in circulation. Of the 21 million, total supply becomes someday. Okay. So I'm going to be the Riddler, and you get to be Batman. So they have it, and now the 2 million gets bought by Larry Fink, and now all 19 million are in play. They can't have it because there's nothing left. And how does the price go up? Because nobody's selling. I want to buy. Well, sorry, nobody's going to sell it to you. How does the price go up? Okay, Batman, how would you answer that question? Because supply and demand, there's no more supply. It's all, let's say it's all 21 million. All 21 is gone. Now what do we do? How do I buy one? I want to buy one. It's 50,000 an ounce. I want to buy one, but gosh darn it, there aren't any. They're all gone. And then how do the miners work? Because don't the miners get the Bitcoin? And therefore, if they get the Bitcoin, well, wait, there is no more Bitcoin to get. It's all out the door. Now, I know in gold, people are constantly selling it, because I go to the gold store and he always has some, and he says it's just people coming in needing money. They'll sell their gold, and then I come in and buy it. It's a nice little routine we have. But we don't see people doing that with Bitcoin. nor would you want Bitcoin's 50,000 an ounce or whatever it is. Do you have to sell the whole Bitcoin, the whole 50,000, or do you sell 10,000 of it? This I'm not sure of. And then what are you going to do? How do you get the money? Now you got to worry that the banks are open and there's US dollars and you can get the money out of the bank. There's a lot of problems you have with the gold. I know I'm going to get the cash. And then if it's to pay a credit card or a mortgage or some vacation, then I put it in the bank and I don't care. I'm putting it in the bank. You've got to sell it, put it in the bank, go to the bank and get it out to go buy gold or silver or to pay your bills. Now, getting it in to pay your bills is nothing because you're going to disperse right away. But see, that's the thing with the gold. I'll get the money. And then I don't have to worry about of getting it. Then it's just a matter of, oh, I need to pay a bill, so I take that and put it in the bank. Well, they'll take the money. You just can't get it out. Bitcoin is divisible like dollars, quarters, dimes, pennies. You can buy 1/100th Bitcoin. It's called a Satoshi. Okay. So you can buy $100 worth to pay a bill or go on a vacation. Okay. Which is good. It's divisible. But if I want to buy one and there isn't one available, then what is there a line? So let's say all 21 million are sold. There isn't any left. The Russian mafia and Bill Gates all bought the Bitcoin. And you want to buy one. Is there a line? Do you I'm next in line to buy one, but I don't even know how much it's going to cost because I don't know what the value is going to be. So how would that happen? This is the problem with the gold. We know what it is, right? We have 1/10 of an ounce, quarter, half an ounce. We know what each one's valued at in dollars at this point. When the dollars go out, we'll figure out what they're valued at. All right, so we don't know. All right, let's go back to London Paul for a minute.
We're way past that point. 2008 was the end, and we've had 15 more years of the end. So it's very hard for people to comprehend that these big institutions will fail because they immediately say, well, what's going to fill you? That's the thing that people fear. And they go, well, if the West collapses and there's a vacuum, who's going to come in? And they go, well, it'll be the Chinese. It'll be the Russians, be the Iranians. And they're terrified what that means. Now, the argument was if those nations actually were hell-bent on being hegemonic powers, then you might have a problem. But they have no desire to do that. The Russians learned its lesson from the Soviet Union era. China's never had any desire to do this in Iran. When did Iran, there's the Iran-Iraq war, but when has Iran ever shown any desire to be imperialistic? They haven't, and they don't want to be. So then in some ways there's people going, they're even more frightened. Well, if there's a vacuum and no one's going to fill the vacuum, then chaos will fill the vacuum. And what does that mean? Does that mean the nation states collapse? What
back to the dark ages.
Does that mean for the Western world? Okay, let's forget the global South for a minute. We don't care what their feeling is or what they're thinking on this. We're just looking after our own interests, fair enough. But they will sit there and go, we can't comprehend this. And for a lot of people, it's like, I just don't want to even think that's possible. So they'll sit there and convince themselves it can't happen. And somehow the US is militarily the strongest nation. It just hasn't asserted itself. Well, the US can't assert itself. And if you actually talk to objective people inside the Beltway, inside the military and intelligence, and they've made public statements, they're agreeing. It's over. The US is not military powerful anymore. It's trying to throw its weight around. It's failed in Iraq. It's failed in Syria. It's failed in Afghanistan. It's failing in Ukraine. It's never going to get traction with regards to Taiwan and China. And also, of course, the other fundamental problem, if you look at the US with regards to the issue of what's happening in Israel and Gaza. The US has no choice but to defend Israel because the United States is in a situation where Congress is at the behest of the Israeli lobby. So the US has to, at all costs, sit there and go, well, we have to defend Israel, and we have to be seen to be doing it. But there's a part of them going, well, we can't defend certain of their actions and what's going on in Gaza anymore. And they're caught, they just absolutely just caught in a situation where they made this point. It's the last thing they want is an extension of this into a regional conflict. They wanted this war over with quickly, because the US cannot afford to have all this political investment financially, but also in terms of just pure politics, because the US is suffering enormous isolation because it's seen by, whether people agree or disagree doesn't matter. It's not about perception anymore. It's just stone cold fact. Large parts of the world are getting angry at the United States' policy towards Israel. And it's not just the global south. There's European nations privately disgruntled with what's going on, saying, we don't feel we can support this anymore. But equally, they don't want to appear to.
We'll get back to that. So I get what you're saying about the having, but it's just what's remaining. And my point is, let's say there's nothing remaining. And that's not deflationary. Deflationary is prices going down. Well, the price isn't going down. The supply's going down. So that could be deflation, what you mean by deflationary. But I'm not sure that's the correct meaning of deflation. Anyway, inflation is the supply. You're printing too much money. If you reduce the supply, I'm not sure it's called deflation, but anyway, the term they use it is for prices coming down, which is the market, prices coming down. But that's okay. But what if they're all sold? How do I buy one? Less available supply means higher prices. Okay, so let's say the 21 million sold. How do I get it? And it's only higher prices if there's more demand. Demand has to beat more than supply. So my Mahomes card, for this to go up, there has to be more than 50 buyers. And now let's say all 50 of the cards. So here's the real world, what happens. I got 50 Mahomes cards, and they're all sold. There's 50 of me who own the cards. Now, number 50, now I sell it, and now number 51 can make me an offer for it, and it's going to be a lot higher than what the 50 of us have. The smartest way to play this would be to buy the other 49, and now I have all 50, and now it makes it a one. There's just one available, or there's just one. I burn the other 49, and now there's just one Mahomes card left because I burned the 49. Now how much is it worth? So that's what the Hunt brothers should have been doing. Instead of trying to corner the silver market, they should have been buying mantle cards. This is where I'd much rather be in sports cards than stocks. You make so much. Well, look at the Brady card, $7 million now, up from $4 million. So I don't know if he's getting offers or what, or if it's a different card. I think it's the same auction, but anyway, that's what it'll be. It'll only get, but again, keep in mind, it only goes up in value if there's a buyer. If I can get, I'll use my Canadian club. I only have a market if I can sell it, right? I want $100 for it. I get a buyer. I have a market. If I don't have a buyer, I don't have a market. I can lower the price. Maybe I get a buyer. Probably at $10, I'm sure I get a buyer. This is a specialty. This is a 12-year, not a regular one. This is 12-year-old in 1997. So this is like a 40-year-old. But keep in mind that this only has a market if there's a buyer. So Bitcoin only has a value if somebody's willing to buy it. Even if you have it and you have it down to 21 million or maybe 19 million, you've gotten rid of the other 2 million. So even if you've done that, is there a market for it, and at what price? Are you really going to get people to buy it for $75,000? Not the average Joe's not. The Larry Finks and the JP Morgans are. The Russian mafia maybe, because they're laundering money with it, but not the average Joe is not going to buy Bitcoin. And if I'm Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, I'm not buying Bitcoin. I'd be buying gold. If I had their money, I'd be buying gold. I can't lose with it. Why would I buy Bitcoin? Because I don't know what Bitcoin's worth. Will it hold its value? Is it going to keep going? As I said, is red going to keep hitting at the roulette wheel? Eventually, red's not going to hit. Just FYI, black will hit, and then that's it. So, if I got real money, I'm not buying Bitcoin. Never, no how. I'd be buying the Brady card for $7 million. I'd be buying the Mahomes card for $500,000, the Jordan rookie for $500,000. They're graded PSA 10. That would make sense to buy those because you own it. It's in your hand. It ain't going anywhere. Jordan's already up there. It's his rookie card. It's a PSA 10. The Brady, the Mahomes, they're not going anywhere. All right, Mahomes won 3 Super Bowls. I'm comfortable with that. Joe Burrow, I might not buy yet because he hasn't won any Super Bowls. I got to wait till he wins. Montana rookie all day, Walter Payton rookie all day. That's what you want to do with your money. Buy things that they're not going down. The demand for those cards are not Montana, Walter Payton. They're not going anywhere. They're just going up because there'll be more people interested in it. Gold, the thing with gold is that the money is worthless. See, we already understand that this is worthless. This is a euro. It has no value. This has been printed to death, the same as this has been printed to death because they're not backed by anything. So we know all this is going to gold. Where else can it go? Nobody wants this because of the debt. Nobody's going to want this because of the BRICS currency. So now you got the BRICS currency, and I heard Mexico's in BRICS now. That's a huge one if it is. Less available. So okay. So if Mexico's in, that's really good for gold. Question is, who started Bitcoin and why? I think it was Mr. Fuji, and I think it was to get out of the dollar. The 2008 crash happened, and people said this is bullshit. And they lost a lot of money, so they created it. But to me, Bitcoin's no more than me, you, Bobby, and Lou, and Greg, John, and Nick saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's come out with the new money, and we'll call it football money." And we're going to keep it limited because we know supply is very important in value. We're only going to make 1 million of these, and we'll call it football coin or something. But it's just between the 4 or 5 of us, and then other people get involved. But it's not money. It's just we created it to have a value. I mean, and that's basically what Bitcoin is. Well, we'll make 21 million, and it's just between a group of friends. It's never intended to be money, and it isn't. And it's never intended to have a value. And it was just a little thing. That's all it is. It's really not money, and it's not digital gold. And the whole thing of it being money is ridiculous. So if we came up with our own little thing, and Austrian dollars, and we printed these, and we gave it our own value, doesn't mean it's real money. It's just among us that it has a value, and we'll trade it amongst us. But that's, I think, what Bitcoin is. But that's why they wanted to get out of the dollar, and they wanted to create something, but they don't realize the government controls everything. You can't just come out with your own dollar and think that's going to work. That's the problem. Now, gold is not the government. It's gold. Gold is in the Constitution as money. Everybody in the world knows gold. It has a value because it is money. And that's the difference. It's not some little Ponzi scheme like these cryptocurrencies. It's an actual. It's gold and silver. It's mined. It's minted. You have it in your hands. That's the big difference, right? Gold is money. This is not money. This is toilet paper. But they'll try to make you think it's money. It is not money. It's worthless. It has no value because it's not backed by gold. It was created to fight irresponsible money printing. Once that stops, gold standard, then what? If you have sound money on a gold standard, Bitcoin will suffer greatly. And Bitcoin will suffer greatly because we are coming out with that's what we should always have been on, is a gold standard. That's what was the Constitution. I know you like quoting the Constitution. It's exactly what the Constitution says, because they knew. They saw what happened in France, 1700s, and Spain, and that's what they said. Let's have a gold-backed currency. You can't inflate it, and that's it. And that's what they did. And that's the point. Why Bitcoin? Why didn't Bitcoin back it by gold? If Bitcoin would have backed their coins by gold, I'd be all for it. But what is Bitcoin is not backed by anything. I can't get behind it because I'm smart enough to understand money and understand if the money is not backed by anything, it's toilet paper. This is not backed by. That's why I stripped. This is not backed by anything. It's worthless. It's just paper. And gold doesn't need to be backed by anything. That's why the dollar needs to be backed by gold. Gold gives it the value, not the paper. This doesn't value it. But if this said this is worth a tenth of an ounce of gold, then you'd have a value. It's the anchor that gives the value to the currency. So if Bitcoin would have done it, Bitcoin would have the value of gold, and it would have ended the dollar. I mean, because everybody would be in Bitcoin, but then it would be asked for and it would be used. I could go to the grocery store with it because it's backed by gold and the retailer will take it. But because it's not backed by anything, the only reason they take the dollars is they have to. The government mandates that they accept the dollar. That's why you can use a debit card or a credit card. They have to take it. So they get all the sales that are all worthless. I told that to the barbecue guy. I go, this is worthless. It's worth zero right now. But you have to take it because the government forces you. So that's when he said, maybe I should have to accept gold and silver. I said, hell yes, you should. Yeah, I know it was, because they didn't know who wants to be Madoff, right? If you have sound money on a gold standard, Bitcoin will be gold. It'll be done. I agree. Gold is constitutional, period. Yeah, and gold is real money. It's the only real money, and it's been around since the Romans, and I think even before that. That's what the inflation. I was listening to that Mike Saylor talk about. Well, you can't use gold because it was hyperinflated in Spain. Well, that's not true. What happened was they went to Mexico, and the Incas and the Aztecs had all these gold mines, and they found the gold mines and they took all the gold and silver and sent it back to Spain. So he's trying to say that's the hyperinflation of all the gold and silver coming back to Spain. There was so much of it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's hyperinflation that we get with money. So that's why Bitcoin's good. Oh, what a fucking loser that guy is. But yes, it's in the Constitution, and that's why it is, because they knew you're not supposed to have a central bank. That's also in the Constitution. No central banks. And notice we had the gold standard from 1879 to 1913, and we were the most prosperous time in the history of the world because that was the whole world. And then as soon as the central bank came in, we've been fucked since 1914. And that's when income tax started. Why are we paying income tax? Hey, why do we pay any tax? What the fuck is that? Anyway, so the more gold we have, the more we're in secret. Nobody knows us. we're not public record. You can't take my bank account. You can't garnish my paycheck. What can you do? Because you don't even know I have the gold. It's in my safe. You don't know I got it until I sell it and get money for it to pay bills or something, which hopefully doesn't happen. So that's where gold is. It can't be printed is the beautiful part of it. And it's just so pretty to look at, and everybody wants it. Some people don't understand it, and because they don't understand it, they're like, oh, well, people will buy Bitcoin over gold because they see Bitcoin at 70,000 going, gold didn't do that. Well, wait a minute. Gold's about to do that. Once BRICS comes out with gold, as you just said, gold, Bitcoin will suffer. So will the dollar once gold's released. Who wants this when you can have gold? And all the other countries don't want to be bullied by the U.S. They don't want to be sanctioned. You can't do that with gold. Gold's gold. There's nothing Putin can do to us. If he unleashes his gold and we buy the gold, there's nothing he can do. I'm going to take your gold away from you. I mean, that's the funny part, right? What's Russia and China can't do a thing. Gold-backed currency. Now, I hope we can get their gold-backed currency, but that's my point. What do we do when the dollar goes out? We can't use a digital dollar if it's not backed by gold because it's worthless. So it's going to be very interesting what the medium of exchange goes to. It should go to gold. Now, the question is, does JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, who are the bullion banks, with Citi and Bank of America, those are the four bullion banks. With those four being the bullion banks, do they have gold? Because remember, in Russia and China, it's not in the central bank. It's in these shadow banks that all the gold lays. Right? Putin's got it in his pool. It's not the central bank. So do these banks hold the U.S.'s gold to have a gold standard? We know the central bank doesn't. We know Fort Knox doesn't. Or the Federal Reserve. However, does JP Morgan and Bank of America and Goldman Sachs have gold needed for a gold standard? Because we hope they do, because otherwise we're totally fucked. You cannot fight gold-backed currency with paper crap. This against gold loses 100 times out of 100. So I need this backed by gold. But it will be good for the whole world is if we have this gold-backed currency. And this, we'll see. So what happened to all these banks collapsing on the 11th with these higher interest rates? I didn't hear a thing. I didn't hear a bank collapse. Now, maybe they did, but we just didn't hear it. Kept it off the radar, or maybe so either A, they did and we didn't hear it, or they did and we're going to hear it, or they didn't do it. And then, well, why? I thought March 11th, the interest rate and the repos are going up. So again, this is why it's hard to listen to the news. You don't know what the fuck you're listening to. So if you get a chance, watch this morning's video on Attack on Wall Street guy. I thought it's very realistic. He gets fucked out of his money and he goes and kills the guy. That part isn't realistic, but it might give ideas. But I mean, of course he should be pissed. The guy, well, Jim, I don't know. It was logistic, but the attacker, he didn't know either. He says, isn't it your job to check these things? No, it's not their job. Some guy gives them, his office manager says, put your guys in this. He doesn't check the houses and make sure they're valuable. And they're not checking the people who own the REITs about what their credit scores are. It should all be 800 credits or 700 credit scores. That's what should be in the writ. But no, he had 300, 400 credit scores in the writ. That's why they collapsed. So it's really amazing. And the guy's yelling, all that matters is the firm. We keep the firm alive. We don't give a shit about our customers. We're in it for the commissions. And that is so true. That's what I try to warn you about. Anyway, yeah, if we would have stuck to the Constitution, none of this would be happening. But unfortunately, this is the danger. You have these people that do not like America. They do not go by the Constitution. I didn't get my job, apparently. One guy's going in for a face-to-face, and I'm like, why? Why would you just did a Teams? What do you need a face-to-face for? And then I started saying, well, did I get it because I'm a white male? I mean, is that why I didn't get it? Like, what the hell is going on? How could I not get the job? I'm very qualified for it. So anyway, I just got to be stoic and go, well, they're lost, and I'll move on. Now I'm available to go to Europe with Jenna. Although I'm getting so sick of Europe with all the farm problems, I don't know where to go anymore. I said, maybe we go to Greece, or I might take Daria to Serbia. I was looking, it's, I can't think of the name. But it looked pretty nice, for us to just go. There's a nice marketplace and restaurants and a beach. So I think we'll go in June. Luke, Professor, what do you think of the crazy derivative market? It's insane and could fail soon. Then gold might have to be valued at $1 million. Well, that's the problem with the derivative markets. You're not dealing with pay, you're just sending derivatives around. In that one movie, The Big Short, they explain it like it's what the girl's on playing blackjacks, won 10 in a row, and so she makes a bet on her hand, and then the guys in the crowd bet on her, and then they bet on other people, bet on them. Those are what the derivatives are. So if you bet on, if I bet on Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, then you bet on me. That's a derivative. And then Nick bets on you that I'm going to win. That's a derivative. It's a fucking nightmare. I don't know how they're legal, and I think it's the biggest joke in the world. That's my bitch against Bitcoin. I want to have something I hold in my hand. That's why you don't do ETFs. That's why you do gold and you hold it in your hand. Nobody can say it's worthless and nobody can take it from you. So you're fine. The derivatives, I don't know what, I mean, that's just ridiculous. But that's where I'm saying when gold gets reset by the BRICS countries, I mean, it's got to be, I'm guessing 10,000. It could be more. Sorry about that. I mean, it's going to be a big number, I think, because they have to print enough money, and it's got to be it can't be 2,000. It's got to be a big number. I just don't understand why the U.S. never revalued their gold. It's still sitting like at $47 an ounce on the books. Why didn't they come out and say, okay, it's 5,000 an ounce now? Maybe because they don't have it. So maybe they can't do it if they don't have it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the derivatives are very, very risky. Let's put it that way. They're all really options. That's what's so funny about COMEX. They're all derivatives and they win every time. Amazing how that works out. Extremely risky play, but they win all the time. Okay, TK, you look great. Thank you. They lost out on a great worker. Well, that happens. There's a $1 quadrillion market. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with it. Exactly right, Luke. And what are they betting on? And that's the point. Or do they just, nobody pays? I mean, I don't know, but and how long are the derivatives for? a week, a month? Are they options that expire after 30 days or 60 days? I agree. It's a huge market that's extremely, very, very risky. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of money in it. Absolutely. Yeah, Greg and John. Now, here's how you be stoic, Greg and John. I know you need help with this. I interviewed. I didn't get it. So I've been rejected, which is upsetting to a point. But the way stoic people look at it, they go, it's your loss. You could have had me, and now you won't have me. Whoever you got is not as good as me. Go fuck yourself. That's how you handle it. So that's why don't be afraid to ask girls out. And if they say no, it's like, well, you could have had me. Your loss. Fuck off. And you move on to the next girl. That's how you, or if you're in sales or whatever you're in, it's never like you. It's, well, that's your loss. You could have had me. You could have had this. You could have had that. It's your loss. Go fuck off. So that's how I look at it. It's like, hey, my gold's going up. And if gold hits 5,000 anytime soon, it won't matter because I won't be working. I do want to do this and get paid for it. Not on YouTube. Well, maybe on YouTube. Not with you guys, but like, go to like a hotel, and you charge $20, $25 a head and you get 30 heads. And I do what I do here. Because I enjoy this so much, I might as well make money at it, and then I don't have to work. So I'm going to think about the best way to teach it to actually get paid for it. But you're right, Luke. It's a nightmare with the derivatives, and they're going to lose. I mean, they're all going to lose because most people don't understand them in the first place. So gold can't be inflated. That's the beautiful thing. And it's well demanded. And it's a medium of exchange. Bitcoin is not a medium of exchange. Money is, but you've taken all of it. This isn't worth anything anymore. So you got to get rid of it. Only they won't. And if they do, what are they going to go to? So that's your question is with gold, how do I buy something once gold is money and you've gotten rid of the medium of exchange? We need to print dollars for the medium of exchange backed by gold. That's where we need to get to. And it's all the corrupt politicians who want to print money and do all these wars that are keeping us off the gold standard. But we all know the only smart play is the gold standard. So, they want war, all these neocons, whatever that means. I guess it means they like wars. Those are the people that, keep getting us into wars. And, I don't know. It's just really crazy, but we've lost to Russia and we can't fight China. So all that's bullshit. Russia will not take over the world. They don't want to go any further than Eastern Ukraine. Russia's big enough as it is. And China doesn't want to take over the world. They have no desire. They got a big enough country with billions of people. Believe me, they don't want any more. They don't want to take over everything. That's not their mentality. And we're broke. So we pulled the France. We pulled the Spanish. We had the gold. We let it slip through our hands. We don't have it anymore. We're not the reserve currency anymore. Saudi Arabia has taken dollar. They're taking anything. Now that Mexico has gone to BRICS, I believe, or maybe they just got the offer. Argentina was in BRICS, and I think they backed out to be with the U.S., and they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they go to the U.S. dollar and it's worthless. Now what are you going to do? So that new president who comes across slashing only made one mistake. He should be using a gold-backed currency. And instead, BlackRock and JP Morgan. I can't wait to see these guys penniless. Larry Fink owns all these houses. What are you going to do? Hold us for ransom? Oh, I'm going to sell them all for $1 million. Fine, keep them. They cost you money, the taxes and the maintenance and the what you paid for it. You don't want 1,000 houses or 1 million houses. You want to sell them, and you can't because you don't know what the market is. So it's just an idiot, that Larry Fink. But anyway, so that's where we stand. We're basically waiting for the gold. Let's see what the paper gold's doing now. Paper gold 21.57. All right, that's not quite as healthy, but it's it's just a bad day. Let's hope we get back to the 2170s, 2180s. We got to get it over 2200. Then we'll be good. See, right now people think it'll pull back to 2000. We need it to go to 2300. Then people will realize it's not going back, and that'll be it. What else? So again, we're waiting. What's going to happen with the banks and inflation? Don't get fooled. Inflation is at least 15 to 20% because you keep printing, right? Inflation is printing of the dollar. We understand what inflation is. Most people don't. They don't get it. Well, the prices were only at 3%. Well, that's year over year. Why is that? Why does that measure inflation? Why isn't it 3 years ago to that? Why isn't it 2019 to 2020 or why isn't it 2024 to 2020, 2020 to 2024? Why are you just selecting 1 year? Of course, it's not going to be much because the damage has been done. Now, when you look last year to this year, yeah, there probably isn't a lot of inflation. Again, a scam of the way you're manipulating the data. And then anything big you take out. So you've got 20 items that haven't moved a lot since last year. And you go, inflation's tame. Oh, so we've stopped printing money, really? And we're going to print $1 trillion every 3 months to pay the debt, which we have to pay. So don't get fooled. They are don't take everything for granted or for face value. Why is inflation measured in prices, and why is it year over year? What is that? It may happen overnight, Professor, the gold revaluation. Gold now Basel III required. Well, that's why COMEX is backing out, because when they do these derivatives today, China's sitting there taking them, right? Oh, you want to sell them at 2150? Right here, I'll take 3 tons. And they got to sell it to China. That's the Basel III part of it. So now, do you really want to sell it at 2153? And I know Shanghai's trying to be physical. I don't think they are, but they're like 2160 or something, or 2200. I don't know what Shanghai is, but we need a physical market because you'll never see it drop. And if this was a physical market, gold would just keep going up, because who's selling it? Who is selling an ounce of gold now? I mean, the older people, because they need money for rent, are selling their gold. An ounce here and an ounce there. I see it at the coin store. But central banks aren't selling it. We're not selling it. Who the fuck's selling their gold, dropping the price? Nobody. That's the point of it. So just be careful there. Be smart. Don't listen to them. You got to just have blinders on and come here with your questions, and we'll figure it out. Because I'm going to give you what's really going on. You can't listen to these idiots because they just don't know. Andy Shankman has no fucking idea. Well, I think it's because the Fed didn't raise interest rates. What? This is why the gold's up or down. Well, I'll show you that. I mean, it's so funny.
people off or cutting countries off.
And some of the past ones, there hasn't been really a specific catalyst. It wasn't like the Fed said, all right, we're going to start lowering interest rates or indicating that they're getting closer. In fact, from the school
He's asking why is gold up the last 3 days?
More so when it's becoming indicated that a rate cut or rate hike is going to happen rather than the actual cut or hike playing out. I mean, we still have people talking about the possibility of a rate hike. So it's, in that sense, been a bit different. We're not as much of a specific catalyst, but curious to hear any of your thoughts on that.
You know, I think a lot of what's going on, Chris, I think, look, this system that we have is one that is based upon trust. And
the fuck's he talking about?
I think there is a strong probability that a lot of what's happening to the bond market, to the debt market, is a function of lack of trust. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that you need somebody to buy the bonds in order to continue to finance the debt. And this is all centered around interest rates, right? I mean, and
the question is why is gold up? And this is the guy's answer. So being the teaser king as I am, I answer the rally is due to COMEX getting out of paper gold. And I have to always plug Bobby with a shake my head. Wake up, folks. You guys don't fucking have a clue what you're talking about. What is he? He's talking about interest. This is why I can't listen to these guys. Because once you realize they're not stoic, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, why would you listen to them at any point? He wants to be an economist, but he's a salesman. He doesn't understand economics. He doesn't understand what COMEX is doing. They're getting out. The price went up because they're stopped shorting it. Oh, it's trust in the bonds and the central bank and the interest rates. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with the gold price? It's simply COMEX is out of the ball game, and they've moved to Bitcoin. That's why we listen to Mark McGuire and Alligator and Egon, because they give you that information. Mark McGuire said, hey, look, they're out. They're into COMEX. They're into Bitcoin. And we know here goes gold going up. Amazing. They went out Thursday, and March 1st to March 8th, gold went up $20 a day. Andy Sheckman is cool. Why is it going up? Well, I mean, just a total moron. So anybody that would listen to this guy, you got to have your head examined. Plus, I don't want you to listen to him because he doesn't know what he's talking about. You might get influenced by somebody who doesn't know 2 and 2 is 4. This is my concern. Yes, the Basel 3, but gold's up because COMEX is not going to keep shorting it. Today was an anomaly where it went down because of a derivative that they must still keep in the bag. But basically, that's it. But that's why we can't listen to these guys, because they're just too stupid. Unfortunately. But that's why I get frustrated, because you try to think, oh, this guy knows about gold. And nah, he doesn't. He's just a salesman. Demand's up. Well, that doesn't affect price. Price is affected by COMEX. They run the price, not anybody else. And we don't have a market for physical gold, unfortunately. So we go and we do the right thing by buying the physical gold and silver. We're just ahead of the game. We got to wait for a physical price. That's all. That's the only way we can win, is just to wait. But we have to understand COMEX is bullshit. So when we look at the paper price, we have to realize, but we got gold. It's worth a whole lot more than the paper. And yes, Luke, the derivatives are they're going to just be people losing their ass on it. But keep in mind, the banks run the government, not the other way around. People don't understand that either. So when the banks when you see JP Morgan going under, they just bail themselves out. The government's bailing out JP Morgan, or JP Morgan is bailing themselves out. because they run the government. And it's amazing how few people understand that concept. Or that JP Morgan runs the Fed and prints the money. And all the money that goes into the stock market. I get so tired of hearing these guys going, why is the stock market up? Well, it's just the economy is really cooking and this and that. No, JP Morgan prints the money and they put the money into the stock market. Amazon, and it's only in those 5 stocks, Amazon and Apple and Microsoft and TikTok or Alphabet or whatever. That's it. This is going into those 5 stocks. The market's at 38,000 for 5 stocks, and the rest, the market's at about 2,000. Oh, another little Ponzi scheme. Just ignore it. We are being Ponzi'd 8 ways from Sunday. Get out of the Titanic into the gold boat. I need to get a gold boat. Maybe Monopoly Piece has a gold boat or something. But I need to get out of it. And that's the problem. They made off you right, left, and center. Wall Street made off you. The banks made off you. The government made off you. And everybody's too stupid to understand the Ponzi scheme. Oh, I'll buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't make money. Yeah, really? You believe that one? I believe Red's going to hit the roulette wheel 35 times in a row tonight. That's about the same bullshit. Professor, do we see hyperinflation being... Now, hyperinflation is the direct definition. The inflation, the prices go up ahead of the money supply going up. It's the fear of the prices going up is the hyper. It's the people getting off the Titanic. So you go to the grocery store with the wheelbarrow full of money because you wanted to buy milk and bread before the price went up. That's the hyper part of it, right? That the people are emotional, running, it's like going to buy, milk, bread or something, Cheerios. It's $5. So I run and buy more, and I buy milk before it goes to $6. And then I buy more before it goes to $7, and I buy more before it goes to $8. That's hyperinflation. The prices are going up so fast that in Germany, they used to let the people go. They would pay them at lunch, and they'd go to the store to buy food, and then they'd pay them at the end of the day. They'd pay them again, and people would run to the store before the prices of the food was so expensive that they couldn't afford it. So I don't know how long the milk and bread lasted, but that's what hyperinflation is. You're hyper that the prices are going up faster than the money's being printed. That's hyperinflation. That's it. Not any of the bullshit you hear from these other people. TK, is this your second stream? Yeah, you saw me this morning. You think I've been talking since 10:30 this morning? And I told you, because you were right. I didn't freeze. I was being buffered, but the buffer never stopped because I've been on Netflix and I get buffered, or Pluto TV or something. I get buffered, and usually it's a few seconds and stops. And I don't know if it's internet or was it YouTube, but I only got the first hour in. So this morning was the whole attack on Wall Street, and we talked football, the free agents and stuff like that. And then this is now the real one for today, but it's just late because I did the second half of yesterday's at 11 o'clock, and then I went swimming after that. So this is today's first stream, but the second stream today. The first stream was last night's second part. I've been noticing the buffering a lot lately. I don't know if it's too many people or something's going on, but you'll just get buffered. The circle goes and there's nothing you can do. But I wasn't frozen because I could see myself in my clock. Right now it says clock 1:59, 33, 34. It's running like that, and I can see when I freeze. I freeze, right? I wasn't frozen. Like now, I'm not frozen. So that's what confused me, Gregor John, is I could see I wasn't frozen, and I could see my clock wasn't frozen. So I was like, I'm not frozen. Must be your computer is frozen. But if you go into yesterday's video, it says 2 hours and 12 minutes. You only get 48 of them. The other hour and a half you get this morning. So that's the idea. But I wanted to cover, like now I'm covering different subjects. I didn't see anything new in the draft. Gold we're seeing. So gold was on a nice run. I expect it to go back on the run. Again, there's only so much derivatives they can do and keep the gold price down. The government wants to play these games, these schemes to make you think everything's fine because they don't want to admit it isn't, because they want to get reelected, because everything's about them getting reelected. And it ain't going to happen. I mean, I'm ready to move to Russia if that guy gets reelected. I'd rather have Putin be my leader. At least I have confidence he can eat and sleep and he knows what he's talking about. I'll have to ask Daria how Russia really is. Like, is it safe there that we can go? Look, Professor, when gold ballistic, we'll have to go have a Capital Grille steak. Sounds good to me. I love Capital Grille. Well, you're in Pittsburgh. There is a Capital Grille here, but it sounds like you got a Capital Grille in Pittsburgh. Yeah, we'll have a nice party. We'll have to meet Bobby and Greg. Well, Greg, do you live near Bobby? You're in Tampa, or are you somewhere else? Because you seem to know Bobby, but I don't know where you live. Or maybe you said Nixon, New Jersey. But yeah, I love Capital Grille. That's where you go for the important dates, right? So I'm going to take Daria. I think we're going to go to Belgrade, Serbia, because besides Turkey, it's the other place you can take a Russian besides Russia. But I don't think I would go to St. Pete, but I think she wants to travel. Is what it sounds like. And the daughter wants me to meet Daria. Our first meet, just us two. She doesn't want to get in the way, I believe. So she's like, no, you two meet. And I'm like, okay. And so Daria, I think's looking forward to it. It was cute. I got her she wanted this outfit. And she went shopping with her friend in St. Pete. And she goes and walks and she sees this outfit. She says, I want to buy it. She says, but I want to buy it myself. And how much is it? She says, 4,500 rubles divided by 90 is the FX. It's $50. I said, yeah, here's $50. I gave her $75. Says, go enjoy the dress. So she got all happy. And I'm thinking for $75 or $50 really, I said, see, that makes me happy to do something like that she's all excited because she didn't have 50 rubles to her name, she needed 5,000 rubles, but it's $50. Now I'm going to be in trouble because when the ruble goes gold back, it ain't going to be 90 to $1 to, if it is, we're all going to Daria for rubles, and I'm going to give her $1,000 to get all these rubles that are backed by gold. I'm going to tell her to put it in a safe somewhere, because if they're gold, then they're worth a hell of a lot more. But I think what's going to happen is the ruble will then be 90 to 1. So 1 ruble will buy you $90. So I won't be able to help her because I'll need $1,000 to give her 50. So that's going to be the problem. Again, that's why I buy more gold and silver. That'll protect it. But yeah, silver is the thing to go into. It's still $24 an ounce, and gold's, keep in mind, gold's $22.50 to buy an ounce. A maple leaf, a cougar. It's funny on eBay, the maple leaf, the cougar, and the dollar are all the same. But when you go into the guy's store, the dollar, the Eagles, $30-$40 more than and he says, He says, well, it's because there's more demand for it. And I'm going, it's an ounce of gold. What are you talking about? What's the difference what company prints it or what country prints it? It's an ounce of gold. And don't get caught. This is 18 karat. I was showing Greg and John this morning. This is an ounce, but it's not an ounce of gold. This weighs an ounce. It's 18 karat. So 75% is gold. The 25% is copper and zinc and whatever. And so therefore it's 3/4 of the ounce of gold. So gold at 2,000, this is 1,500 because there's 3/4 of an ounce of gold in this, even though it's an ounce, it's not an ounce of gold. So understand that in jewelry. But you pay for the design and everything else. So you pay a lot more for it than it's really worth. That's why I tell you to buy coins. The gold, the coin, you're paying exactly what it's worth, not extra for the design like you do in jewelry. What was I going to say? So keep that in mind. But again, you're buying the ounce of gold. That's why we buy the coins. We want an ounce of gold, and that's the best way to get it. My guy didn't. He had his normal stack of gold and silver, and he doesn't have many buffaloes. Those go first. And I'm really leery of some of these other ones. You know, they say 999, 1 ounce of silver, but I like the Buffalo or the Liberty heads or the Mercury dime ones that are, they're Mercury dime, but they're an ounce of silver. They're kind of the Mercury dime face. So it's kind of cool. That's how I diversify my portfolio. But yeah, well, you're pretty good with silver, Luke. You got the big things. But I would say to keep, I don't know what I would tell you to buy more gold, depending, because if we go to Switzerland, you want to have 10 ounces of gold in you, it could be $500,000. How much silver is gonna take? So anyway, this is going to be curious. What happens when BRICS comes out with a gold-backed currency and Russia and China? What the hell happens here? Our dollar won't be worth anything. Can we buy the gold-backed currency? Are we allowed to buy the BRICS gold-backed currency is going to be the question. Or do I have to go to Russia to buy it or India to buy it or something? I mean, do I have to go somewhere to buy it? Maybe we go to Hong Kong or Singapore to buy it. Or maybe we go to, Zimbabwe or Nigeria or, while Egypt's in it, maybe we go to Egypt to buy it. This would be curious. So we will see where we need to go to get it, but I would highly recommend getting it because the dollar is going to be gone. So the next question is, what do they replace the dollar with as the medium of exchange? So for us to get paid and go to the store and pay our bills, we need a medium of exchange. That's what this is. This is a medium of exchange. You're not supposed to fuck it and print it to zero. These idiots in charge. So that leaves you with what's it going to be. But if it's the same dollar not backed by gold, it's worthless. Understand that. Only something backed by gold will have value. So you hope the next dollar is backed by gold, but we don't have any gold. We don't want any for some strange, we're the only country that's too stupid to have our government buy gold. Every other central bank in the world's buying gold hand over fist but us. What a bunch of idiots. So keep that in mind. We have to think ahead. If you hear anything about a new medium of exchange, let us know. I keep an eye on it, but I haven't seen. And I haven't seen all these banks that were supposed to go out yesterday. I keep waiting and I don't see it. And I'm really scratching my head going, well, how did they got their interest rates raised to 5%? How are they still in business? Get it while you can. Well, when gold, yeah. Well, that's what I keep saying. Don't wait for the boat to sink to get off the boat. Get off the boat now. So that's why I wanted the job. If I got the job, I could have bought more gold because now I got to kind of parse it until I get a job or gold goes ballistic. But if I would have got the job, I could have then done that. So we will see. I'll hopefully get another one. I've got the background. I'm wondering if I got discriminated because of my age or because I'm a white male. I'm thinking one of those two things. But we will see. I was applied to GM. I got to follow up on that one, but it's been almost 2 weeks, so either they haven't decided yet or what. We'll see. But anyway, I am curious why I didn't get this one when I know I'm the most qualified. So, oh well, their loss. Yeah, get as much as you can, and then we got to get the fuck out of the country, I feel, because we're going to be in serious trouble. I think Hong Kong, Singapore, maybe Puerto Rico, somewhere safe, I don't know. We'll have to do some digging where to live, because it's not going to be safe here. We don't have any money. I mean, it's going to be a mess. But I think we're fairly safe because, the people that need money aren't going to come to us. They're going to go to the jewelry stores and the banks, the bigger stores, and hold them up. They don't know they don't know where I live, but they don't know if they see me walking outside and they're not part of the class, they don't know I have anything. I'm living here. How much money can I have? This is a nothing apartment. Just what I wanted. Bare minimum. My friend came over. She says, you need like stands for the TV and my DVDs and my casino chips and stuff. And I said, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. And when I moved out of Alabama, I had all this furniture and, I kind of gave most of it away. And then the movers who fucked me over never really moved me. So I said, well, I don't know what to do with it, right? If I have something, what I'm going to want to do with it. So I do need like a shelves or a stand or something where I can put my DVDs and even my flat screen. I'm figuring I had ordered a glass set, but Gardner White fucked up and it was all broken. So I said, just forget the order. You guys are hopeless because how do you tell me you have something in stock and it's all broke? So I got away from them. But yes, Bitcoin is a Ponzi. Understand that. It's not backed by anything. The key to everything is what's it backed by. This is backed by, it's Mahomes, it's 50 count. You have it. It doesn't need, it's not necessarily, it's backed by supply and demand. It's backed by, if I put this on eBay, I'm going to get an offer. Just like the Brady card, they offer $7 million now. It's not backed by anything, but it's a Brady 10 count rookie card. So it's worth $7 million, but it's kind of the fact that you have the card in your hand. That's the backing. This is the asset. So I have it. That's really what the cards are. This doesn't have that. This needs to be backed by something. It needs to be backed by gold. And gold, you have the coin, and that's it. And then the market dictates the value of it. Fortunately, a lot of the markets aren't being done properly because they're not supply and demand. They're not, okay, who wants this? Okay, you give me $25 for it, fine. That's the market, but it's not like gold. All of a sudden you get all these derivatives interfering. You don't have, it's not invisible hand. It's not laissez-faire. Let the buyer, let it be, right? Laissez-faire, let it be. Put it out and go. But no, gold and silver, they can't let it be. They got to interfere with derivatives. It's not a market because they're interfering. And that's the whole point of laissez-faire. Let it be. Just let gold go to the price. Let us bid it. But secretly, we've gotten a break that the fact that it is so cheap, we can buy it. That's the beauty of gold and silver. Silver is not laissez-faire $25. It's derivative block $25. You get the derivatives out and just let it go, laissez-faire, free market, boom, boom. You're looking at $2,000 an ounce. The markets are rigged, God help us, but will they stay rigged? See, I don't know that they'll stay rigged. I don't think gold and silver will stay rigged. Now, what will Russia and China do? They want a rigged market or they want a higher market? Well, if I got 30,000 tons of gold, I probably want a higher price. Will it go free market? I don't know, but I'm sure it'll go much higher. And yes, will they do derivatives? Will they market at 10 grand and derivative at 10? I don't know. Good question, and we hope it doesn't. We hope it's free market. We're expecting it to go much higher just because China and Russia wants it much higher. When you got it all, you want to bankrupt the U.S., you want a high gold price. So if they're going to print all these dollars, they need a higher gold price. So hopefully it gets to where we're thinking. We know the dollar blows up in the U.S. We don't know about the Russian and the BRICS dollar, what if they're going to fix it or not. They probably have to just to get a natural value of gold. I guess like the $32 we ran it at until now it's the 2021.50. So this will be interesting to see, but I think it'll be worth a hell of a lot more than $2. We'll see where it gets to. But you don't know what they're going to do. I mean, what BRICS should do is let it go and get a free market on gold, but I just don't know. Does it benefit BRICS to let the gold price go? If they're going to have money, if they're going to have currency, do they have to, okay, gold price is going to be 10,000 an ounce and lock it in? And that'll be it. It'll just be 10,000 an ounce. This I don't know. I'm sure it'll be more than the 2,000 that we're buying it at, but I don't know because of the interference what'll happen. We're hoping for a free market. Then it should get very explosive. Is it in the best interest of China and Russia to keep it locked in? I don't know. I think they want to, kind of kill the U.S. instead of with military, with financial. So I don't know. I'm hoping they want it higher or a free market. So, yeah, this will be interesting. I guess we'll find that out soon enough. It's coming. They're on their last phase of the gold back currency in BRICS. So we will see. I guess I would say by the end of the second quarter, I guess they'll have in their conference, and then we'll see what the real price is. All right, I think that's about it. I am very tired. Any questions, comments? I kept Luke busy. And when I'm like for Nick, I'm just you want to buy Bitcoin because it's going to 100. Well, that's a guess. And it's 75 or 70. What are you going to buy? An ounce? You're going to buy $5,000 worth? I mean, you might as well go buy 2 more ounces of gold if you're going to do that. Something will go up. I mean, if they're going to control gold, they're going to control Bitcoin. Don't kid yourself. Because at least gold, the government can have gold-backed currency. But Bitcoin, they don't want it to just run free and people they can't control the people. So the thing with gold is they can't control us at all. That's what I really like about gold. Nobody knows you have it. They can't control you. So the whole thing. But I think half that shit doesn't happen. The digital dollars and the control, and you can't take a piss unless you contact the czar or whatever. I think that's bullshit. Okay, Luke, you have a nice night and good luck to you. And probably going in June to Bosnia or Serbia. So Daria cannot go to Barcelona, unfortunately. Plus, with all the trucker stops, be very careful in Europe. All these tractors, food tractors, putting these roadblocks up in the cities. I'd be very careful. Germany, France, Spain, Barcelona, Portugal. I would be very careful going there. Hopefully it doesn't bother you. All right. I've had enough. Round two. Okay. Let's see where the gold price goes. It should just keep going up and up and up because there shouldn't be a lot to stop it. And nobody's fucking selling it. And even if they do, I don't know how it registers on there. And Bitcoin's going up, but watch BlackRock start fucking around with it. And again, it's a couple of big whales buying it, pushing the price up. The big whales start selling it, and boom, the price goes down. That's why you need to get out of it. You've got to play it like poker. If you bought it at 50 and it's at 70, take your profit and run. But no, nobody will do it. It's going to go to 1 million. Red's going to hit 64 times in a row at roulette. Okay, yeah, that happens all the time. Oh, yeah, Bitcoin will just keep going up. Yeah. Are we sure about that? So be smart. All right. I will talk to you tomorrow. Probably go swimming at like 10:30, 11, and then do this about 1:30, something like that. We will see. All right. Have a nice night and take care. We'll keep an eye on the banks. They should have been collapsing, so I don't really know what's going on. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.